1991, the tragic murder of 4 teenage girls at a yogurt shop in Austin, Texas, left the community in deep sorrow and desperate for answers. Little did anyone know that over 3 decades later, the mystery would still linger unresolved. In a heartbreaking incident on December the 6th, 1991, the bodies of 17-year-old Eliza Thomas, 13-year-old Amy Ayers, and sisters Jennifer and Sarah Harbison, aged 17 and 15, were discovered in a yogurt shop in Austin. They were found tied up and gagged with their own clothes, each shot in the head. The scene was further complicated by a fire set by the assailant, which obliterated much of the evidence. Amy, an avid animal lover, took part in the Travis County Fair and Rodeo, where she showcased her hogs. Her involvement in the Future Farmers of America program introduced her to her best friend, 15-year-old Sarah Harbison, who was also an FFA member. Alongside them were Sarah's older sister Jennifer and Jennifer's friend Eliza Thomas, both seniors at Lanier High School, who worked together at a local yogurt shop called I Can't Believe It's Yogurt. That evening, Jennifer and Eliza were finishing their closing duties at the yogurt shop, with Sarah and Amy assisting them, as was their usual routine. When the final customer exited at 10:42 p.m., it was observed that 2 unidentified males lingered inside, seemingly paying close attention to the girls' chatter. When the clock struck 11 p.m., the store was officially closed, and the girls secured the door, moving on to their end-of-day tasks. The yogurt shop's policy dictated that the doors be locked 15 minutes before closing, allowing the last patrons to leave while the key remained in the lock. This measure not only kept the shop secure, but also ensured the girls' safety as they cleaned. At 11:03 p.m., they pressed the no sale button for a receipt, still in the register. Unfortunately, between 11:03 p.m. and 11:47 p.m., a dreadful crime unfolded. Just before midnight at 11:49 p.m., Officer Troy Gay arrived at the yogurt shop to investigate a fire, having noticed smoke streaming from the building and informed dispatch a few minutes prior. Upon entering the yogurt shop, he, along with other investigators from the Austin Police Department and Fire Department staff, stumbled upon a devastating sight: the burned bodies of 4 girls. Later investigators would uncover that $540 was missing from the register. Jennifer was found lying next to her sister Sarah and their friend Eliza, who were heartbreakingly stacked together. Amy was discovered in the vicinity of the store's preparation section. All 4 victims had been tragically burned. The grim finding of the 3 girls revealed them nude and bound. It is thought that when the fire was lit, Sarah, Eliza, and Jennifer were layered on top of one another, with an accelerant used to ignite the tragic scene. While extinguishing the flames, firefighters accidentally knocked over Jennifer's body. Jennifer's autopsy showed that her body was heavily scorched, with her hands bound. Although no bindings were discovered at the location, a ligature mark encircled her neck, and it was noted that each victim had been shot in the head with a .22 caliber weapon. When authorities found Sarah, her hands were restrained with underwear tied behind her back, and she had been gagged. There were clear indications of an assault, and she had also sustained a gunshot wound to the head. Eliza's body was discovered, burned and unclothed, her hands restrained behind her. A gag held her silent, and a gunshot had pierced her skull. There is a strong indication that Amy was attempting to escape, as she was discovered in a different part of the store, away from the other girls. She was found without any clothing, showing signs of having been assaulted, and had sustained 2 gunshot wounds to her head from 2 separate firearms. The first shot, a .22 caliber, did not penetrate her skull and was not fatal. The second shot, however, was deadly. A .380 bullet from a semi-automatic weapon had entered her brain and exited through her cheek. Law enforcement acted promptly, realizing that the crime was likely committed by several offenders. Initially, 4 individuals were named in connection with the case: Michael Scott, Robert Springsteen, Maurice Pierce, and Forrest Wellborn. The 4 suspects, all teenagers at the time of the murders, were initially looked into right after the crime, but were not pursued due to insufficient evidence. In 1999, a new wave of investigations brought them back into focus, leading to their implication in the case, with Scott and Springsteen both confessing to the crimes. After being tried and convicted of capital murder, Scott received a life sentence without the chance of parole, while Springsteen was sentenced to death, yet their cases took a turn when new evidence emerged, leading to the overturning of their convictions and ultimately exonerating both men, as their DNA did not match that found at the crime scene. The case, marked by a series of false confessions, arrests, convictions, and exonerations, still stands as an unsolved mystery after all of these years. The Austin community was profoundly affected by this case, and its reverberations continue to resonate. There is a growing hope that breakthroughs in DNA technology may one day help identify those responsible for the girls' murders. Additionally, this case has inspired the Homicide Victims' Families' Rights Act, which aims to provide families with a complete reinvestigation of cold cases, utilizing the latest forensic testing available. This was truly a tragic event. These were just babies with their whole lives ahead of them. Please tell me your thoughts.